Alright, it is the morning of day 55 and it's probably the second biggest morning of this trail, I'd say, because today I'm headed officially into the Sierra. So day one, obviously leaving Campo was the biggest day and that was the most surreal, but today's pretty, it's a bit of a big deal as well. Just left out from Kenny Meadows, so mile 702 point something. And from here, the next 300 to 400 miles is considered the Sierra. That's where the big mountains are, including a side trail at the tallest mountain in the lower 48 states. Highest point the trail reaches is about 13,000 something feet. So it's up there. It's also where we encounter snow and ice and have to carry extra gear. So as you can see behind my head here, which is a lovely place for it, is my bear canister. That is a legal requirement from not quite where I am now, but within a day or so, you must carry a bear canister to keep your food in. And I have an ice axe back there, and also some Catula micro spikes, which a bit of a debate between having those and full-on crampons. But I think I know it's a low snow year, and I'm fairly early season. I'm hoping the micro spikes will be okay. Most people seem to be taking them, so I'm sure I'll make do. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks coming up with these big snowy mountain passes and also creek crossings. Some pretty raging creek crossings, some wades, some swims, log crossings, and it gets pretty real. It's actually this is the area that most hikers who do die on this trail die, is in this next section. I believe getting washed away would be the most common, but I think I've heard rumours of a few people dying already this year, but in the desert, mostly due to medical conditions and stuff like that. So heart attacks, and so nothing that the trail has necessarily caused. I don't know of any accidental deaths so far this year. There's never that many. There were a couple last year, but last year was a very, very big snow year. And by comparison, this is a very, very small snow year. We had the day off in Kennedy Meadows. It was a little anticlimactic, to be honest. It's such a milestone that I never thought I'd actually get to, and it was cool getting to the general store, and there was like two people cheering and clapping when you came in. I believe it used to be a lot bigger, because from my understanding, there used to be just the one business, the general store there, where all the hikers went. So it was a bit of a party. Everyone's celebrating the end of the desert. And as I say, the end of the desert, I am walking on sand right now. And it still looks like desert around me. So I guess it's the theoretical end of the desert, not the hard and fast, no more desert. But so I think it used to be a bit more of a party. Now there's a rival business set up down the road, and arguably the rival business does a few things nicer for hikers. There's also a gear store down there now, and so everyone's kind of spread out. Some are at the general store, some are at what's called Grumpy Bears, where I was. And in the end, for me, it felt the whole thing was a little anticlimactic, just because everyone was so spread out, just didn't have that energetic, celebratory vibe, I guess I thought it might be. It did have the overpriced food that I was expecting. That's fine. It was good just to get in, take the day off yesterday. The weather was pretty average yesterday. Sort of raining on and off during the day, and it was a pretty good day for just getting a few things done and lazing around and not doing a great deal. And the weather this morning is beautiful, so perfect weather to sort of hike out. Other changes, obviously, beside the big old can behind my head at the moment, which just does not fit in my pack, so it lives on top. And I get the daily chore of, I guess the rules are you must carry a can. You do not actually have to put your food in the can. I believe. This is just what I've been told. I haven't fact checked it myself, but the fact for me is I'm carrying 8 days of food right now, and that doesn't fit in the can. And also the can doesn't fit in my pack, which means it has to go up top. And if it's full of food, it's very heavy. Actually, the plastic can itself weighs over a kilogram, or over, I think about 2.3, 2.4 pounds, which freaking sucks. Like, again, a kilogram doesn't sound like much, but you know, things that got added in, microspikes weighs, I know what the microspikes weigh. The ice axe was about 300 grams, and either way, I probably added 2 kilos of equipment to my pack, which sucks. I did remove 2 water bladders. I don't believe I need anywhere near as much water carrying capability as I had. So instead of being able to carry up to 8 litres, I can now carry up to 4, which I'm hoping will be enough. There's generally a lot of water where I'm heading, so it shouldn't be a problem. I also got rid of my water filter. Basically because I'm just sick of squeezing water through a damn filter. I hate it. I have switched back to, it's making its first appearance on this trail, but I've used it before. It's my SteriPen, which is a UV, it sterilizes water via UV light. It does not actually filter any chunkies out of the water though, but because of where I'm going and all the snow melt and the fresh raging creeks, I think the water quality should be fairly clean and clear and pristine, and probably doesn't need filtering, but it's a pretty shit place to get sick. So I will be treating it with my SteriPen, which kills everything and anything theoretically. Also, because that is rechargeable and it's another electronic device, so I'm carrying extra battery as well to hopefully keep things charged. That's probably my biggest concern going into this session. This is being 8 days. It's the longest I've gone ever on any single stretch between towns or anything. I'm not sure what the previous longest, but 5 days, I think. I don't even think I've done 6 days. So it's 8 days of food on me, and thankfully smaller water carriers because it is damn heavy, plus with the extra gear and the extra battery and bits and pieces. So that pretty much sums up the changes that have been made heading into Sierra. Some people made clothing changes and stuff like that. I also swapped back in my rain gloves, my pack cover, a few other rain related bits and pieces, and some bug spray, and my head net, and a few other bug related bits and pieces. So there's been a bit of gear added in, unfortunately not very much taken out. But yeah, once the food load, I think I said I've got 8 days of food, so once that starts to get down in weight, it should be lighter than the desert section, hopefully, even with the extra equipment. That would be the hope. And I'm hoping that 8 or 9 days will be the longest food stretch I have for the whole trail, or at least with this bear can on my back. But we'll see. It's always a bit of a gamble trying to figure out how much food you think you're going to eat for 8 days. I mean, we're heading up to some pretty high altitude. In fact, I'm about 6,000 feet now. By the end of today, I'll either be at or over 10,000 feet, or have gone over and maybe come down the other side. That's about 16 miles from here, so it's straight into some tall stuff, and how that will affect my appetite is unknown. So this last section I knew I had way too much food and could just eat like crazy the whole time. This section I'm gonna have to stay restrained for a number of days until I see how my progress is going and where I'm at, and whether I can eat more food or have to slow down and start rationing, which I really hope I don't have to do. So we'll see. A lot more unknowns, but also in the end it's just walking, and that's all it's been so far. And it's been, honestly, like, there's moments where it's challenging, but on the whole it's pretty damn easy. It's just walking, lots of walking, a bit of weight in the back, but nowhere else to be, nothing else to do, there's no hurry, no pressure, and so far no catastrophic gear failures, so it's pretty stress free. All you do is just cruise along and enjoy it. And on that note, I'm going to put this down and go back to waiting for this sand to end so I can finally feel like I'm not in the desert anymore. Alright, I didn't expect to be at my first river crossing of the Sierra so soon, but here I am. I am on my own, so you're not supposed to do river crossings on your own, but I'm going to. I've unclipped my pack, so in the event that something should happen and I have to ditch my pack, I can get out. And pretty much, here goes. It's pretty rapid, you can probably hear the water. Yep, it's a sketchy crossing. I really didn't expect to be this deep so soon. Whew. That was a close one. Might have to wait for people next time because that was a little scary. The only thing I can hear is my heartbeat. It's really cool. It's still first day out of Kenny Meadows. Probably about 11 or 12 miles done. Loving the apparent isolation out here. As I've said in other videos, I know I'm not the only one out here, so you don't have that completely isolated feeling. But I've only seen a couple other hikers all day, and right now they're somewhere ahead and behind and nowhere within sight range, nowhere within a few miles either direction. And you can't hear a thing. There's not even a breeze in the trees, but it's lovely and cool weather. The only man-made sound over here is the odd fighter jet just ripping through this valley, which is pretty cool. It shouldn't be. I shouldn't find that cool, but I don't know, some part of me, I guess I just love Top Gun that much that every time I see a fighter jet banking through some mountain ranges, I just get a bit excited. But yeah, it's not totally different from the desert just yet, but it is definitely changing rapidly. And the water, so much water today. I think the longest water carry I've had today is like 3 miles, which is probably shorter than the shortest water carry I've done anywhere else. My pack is still insanely heavy, and it's making me not want to do a great deal of miles today. I'll probably stop around 15. Not that it's going to be that much lighter tomorrow, but every little bit I eat makes it a little bit lighter. And I've budgeted about 15 miles a day for this section, assuming the mileage will drop with the altitude and the climbing. I can see snow on the hills just up ahead, so I think I'll be hitting my first snow potentially tomorrow or the day after. Well, not my first snow. I got snowed on outside of Big Bear, but that was nothing. Excuse me. And then there was a little bit of ice on San Jacinto and a tiny bit on Baden Powell, but nothing to even make you nervous. Just walk straight across it without any additional equipment required. For now, just loving the peace and the quiet and the relative solitude out here. So I'll see if I can get a little shot around here a second. Just across the valley. Out across that way. All the way around. And again. Just the slightest breeze in the trees and the occasional bird. It's just me, the mountain lions and the bears out here.